So welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Jayananda Gauranga Prabhu to enlighten us on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. So thank you so much Prabhuji for giving your valuable association and time. So please accept my humble obeisances, all the glories to Srila Prabhupada. And now I would like to hand over the call to you Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. You're able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Yamanobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Maham Dadati Swapadantikam Bande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Namacharya Padhaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadai Nagara Gramatarini Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesh Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Antya Leela Chapter 1 Verse 73. Prabhura Nritya Shloka Suni Shri Rupa Gosai Se Shlokartha Lana Shloka Karila Tathai. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai. When Rupa Goswami heard a verse uttered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the ceremony, he immediately composed another verse dealing with the same subject. So I'm going to discuss two broad learning objectives as part of this verse. The first one is, what is the context of this verse and what are the two verses that are being referred to in this verse 3.1.73. The second learning objective for the day is, what are the wonderful nature of dealings between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his intimate associates. So let's first look at the first learning objective from this verse, that is the context and the two verses that are being referred to in this morning's verse. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we know, had commissioned Rupa Goswami to write on the science of the Rasa Tattva. So it is said, Kavi Karnapura, when he had said, Sri Kavi Karnapura had said in his Chaitanya Chandrodaya, he said that Rupa Goswami, true love and devotion. And many of the identities of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are mentioned in Chaitanya Chandrodaya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered Rupa Goswami so that he can broadcast his own love and devotion and propagate it throughout the world. And that's the reason, a specific reason, why the Gaudiya Vaishnavas themselves are called as Rupanugas, or the followers of Rupa Goswami. And in fact, every devotee who's aspiring to follow this path towards spontaneous love towards the Godhead, and who's aspiring towards Raganuga Bhakti, aspires to become a servant of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami. And he's been there are many exalted verses about Rupa Goswami, and that's so clear from the stature he has made, from his stature. And Sri Narottama Das Thakur, he sings, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Se Mora Sampada, Se More Bhajana Pujana. The feet of Sri Rupa Manjari, so that is Rupa Goswami's eternal form, as Srimati Radharani's maidservant in Vraja. And that is Sri Narottama Das Thakur's only wealth. So, and they are the feet, the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, are the only object of worship and service for Sri Narottama Das Thakur. So let's see what is the context in which this verse appears. So while in when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first met Rupa Goswami, when Mahaprabhu was visiting on his way from Jagannath Puri all the way to Mathura Vrindavan, the holy places there. On his way, he first met there, and then after that, Rupa Goswami went to Vrindavan, and there in Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami thought that if he has to fulfill the desires of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he will, in response to that, he will write a drama. And in that drama, Rupa Goswami will explain the amazing pastimes in which Srimati Radhika meets with Krishna in Vrindavan. And also about the separation pastime. So what happens after separation when Krishna leaves Vrindavan and goes to Mathura and Dwaraka. So he was contemplating about writing all this in the drama, and this is to fulfill the desires of the Lord himself. So he decided that he will explain how by their expansions, so Srimati Radhika and all the Sakhis, somehow or the other, they how they expanded and how they have been the queens, how and the past, and how they went to Dwaraka, and became Lord Krishna's 16,108 queens. So he intended to write like this, but he was traveling when he was traveling back from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, he came to a village called as Satyabhamapura. So we have seen that in the previous verses, all these things we've already seen, that Rupa Goswami, he was traveling by Satyabhamapura. So this Satyabhamapura is a place which is somewhere near the modern day Cuttack and in Orissa. Therefore, there Sri Satyabhama Devi, so Lord Krishna's queen, she appeared to him in a dream and told Rupa Goswami that please don't make this only one drama, rather divide it into two parts. So after awakening, so when Rupa Goswami thought about this dream, so this is the nature of exalted devotees when an Uttama Adhikari, so it's not like even if they are sleeping, even in that sleep, they are the so-called sleep. For a person, it might look like they are sleeping, but even in that sleep, they are engaged in the service of the Lord. They are interacting, they're constantly in the spiritual world, associating with the Lord and his associates. And therefore, they are ever liberated and always there in the spiritual world. And hence, even in the dream. So this is the reason why it is frequently said that at the night time, before we go to sleep, we always read the Srimad Bhagavatam or hear something very nice about Krishna. And so that we can also transcend and then not waste all those hours when we are just in the mundane sleep, but engage those hours during sleep in the service of Krishna. And so here, Rupa Goswami, when he thought about his dream, he concluded that it is the order of the queen Satyabhama that she has asked him to write a separate drama for her, and now that he shall divide that into two parts. So having thought of this, and then he started walking again from there towards Jagannath Puri, and we have already seen in the previous verses that Rupa Goswami finally arrived at Jagannath Puri, And there he met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was assigned his quarters. And Rupa Goswami is very exalted. He and the Lord confirmed, and we've seen just about 4 or 5 verses before this, that the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed that what he had heard from Srimati Satyabhama in his dream said the same thing. So that means that he got a second confirmation that it is real. So this also tells us that we shouldn't just be imagining that whatever comes in our dream, but we need to always have we need to have something being told to us by a bona fide spiritual master. So we cannot just say, okay, so it just came to us in a dream and this is what it is. And those things can be just imagined, especially for a neophyte devotees, and which are many in this world as we are. So one doesn't want to imagine like this, okay, it came in my dream, Krishna said this, and we want to, because those kind of imitations of such exalted personalities are not recommended. So we always need to check with our mentor, with our guide, with our spiritual master, and in that way we will get clear guidance. So there is no need for us to take some steps, which is and take all the responsibility on ourselves, but implicitly trust the spiritual master and the Lord. So trusting the spiritual master and the Lord is like they both are like it's frequently said that they are like the two the rails on the track, and even if one is not there, the train is going to derail. So in that way, Mahaprabhu here confirmed by telling the simple words there to Rupa Goswami: do not take Lord Krishna out of Vrindavan. Very powerful words. Don't take Lord Krishna out of Vrindavana. That is, he's saying that this Krishna, known as Yadukumara, is Vasudev Krishna. He's different from the Krishna who's the son of Nanda Maharaj, the primeval personality of Godhead who eternally resides in the planet Goloka, which is like the capital of the Vaikuntha planetary systems. He's saying he's different from that, the son of Nanda. Yadukumara, the Krishna, manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwaraka. So that's a planet they are also in the Vaikuntha planetary systems, but they are outside the central capital of Vrindavana. Of Goloka Vrindavana. But the Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, never at any time leaves Vrindavan. Krishna always stays in Vrindavan. That's the central tenet that we always follow. So Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He never even sets one foot outside of Vrindavan. So this is a very powerful message, and therefore this subject matter is very in various forms. It is detailed in different scriptures. For example, even in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, even among in Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami talks about different kinds of mellows which the associates of Krishna experience with Rupa Goswami, and how those mellows interact with each other, and so on. And therefore, the pastimes of Krishna are also very, even though everything in the Vaikuntha and the spiritual world is absolute, but there are differences in the mellows which we can see. So that is why we see when we are even though we are praying to the 3 different forms of Vishnu in the material cosmos, whether it is Kshirodakasai Vishnu, who is Mahavishnu, or whether we pray to the Vishnu who lies at the bottom of the ocean called the Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, or we pray to the Vishnu who's the Kshirodakasaya Vishnu, who is there everywhere as the Paramatma. So even there, everywhere the mellows are different. So there, and then in the different Vaikuntha planetary systems, the different Narayana lokas, there is a Lord Narayana in his 400 form is there, and so many lokas. So the mellows are different. So here, the mellows which are experienced by the associates of Krishna, in an absolute sense, there is no there is, because everything there in the spiritual world is absolute and there is no difference, okay? But at the same time, the variegatedness is always visible. And therefore, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He never sets even one footstep outside of Vrindavan. So that is why if you see the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas are the most exalted in terms of expounding the theology of the Vaishnava scriptures. So we can see in many even in many Vaishnava sampradayas, there will be, even though they have taken it to a level which is to be to a level to which the audience at that stage in this Kali can accept it, but there is always a mixture between the different mellows, whether it is Vishnu, whether it is Krishna, whether it is Rama. There is a mixture there, but you would not see that in the writings of the Gaudiya Vaishnava, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, because it is so it is they have analyzed the scriptures so thoroughly that there does not exist any analysis which is more profound in terms of the theology compared compared to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So Rupa Goswami then divided his drama into two parts. And the first part he called as the Vidagdha Madhava, and this is Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And in the second part, he called it as the Lalita Madhava, and where he goes to Dwaraka and all the gopis of the Vrindavan are reunited with him in the forms of the queens of Dwaraka. And this is actually mentioned in verse by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He talks about this in verse 78. So I'm only going to talk about one verse today, which is 3.1, the Antya Leela verse 1.73. But in verse 78, a couple of verses from here, we can see that Mahaprabhu himself says that that very personality, okay, that is Krishna, who stole my heart during my youth, is now again, so he's saying here is, I now again my master. So these are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of the malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breeze is blowing from the Kadamba forest. Okay, Kadamba is a tree, so Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover. Yet, still my mind is not happy. I'm eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva under the Vedasi tree, and that is my desire. So here Mahaprabhu talks about two verses in this morning's verse, which is verse number 73. He says the first verse was composed by Mahaprabhu, and then following that Rupa Goswami composed another verse. So when Mahaprabhu was dancing in front of the cart, the Jagannath cart, at that time he spoke this word, that very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. So these are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of the malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breeze is blowing from the Kadamba forest. And in that intimate relationship, that I am also the same lover, but yet still my mind is not happy. I'm eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva under the Vedasi tree. So Rupa Goswami, what he did, so this is a verse so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu usually narrates these kind of verse when he dances. He suddenly narrates a verse, but only very few people really understand why he's narrating the verse, and his very close associate, who's called Swarupa Damodar, we will see in a subsequent verse that he understood why Mahaprabhu was saying. And Rupa Goswami, he immediately wrote that in a palm leaf, and then he went back to his home there in the place where he resides in Jagannath Puri, and there he was, and he wrote that, and Rupa Goswami composed another verse, which is verse 79 here in the same chapter, where he says, my dear friend, now that I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra, I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go back to the bank of the river Yamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within that forest of Vrindavan. So these are the two verses, 78 and 79, which is being referred to in this verse today, in this morning, 73rd verse. So, and there, Rupa Goswami, so he says, so that I do not know how much, so Rupa Goswami says, I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. Okay, so the two syllables are Krishna, it's so nectarian that when the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within his heart. So he desires so many mouths to chant the names Krishna. When that name enters to all the holes, okay, whether through of the ears, and so we desire more and more ears. So this audition, the hearing is a very important sense organ to spiritualize. So it's one of the most powerful sense organs to pass. It is the most powerful sense organ. And we need to spiritualize it as soon as possible. We need to take efforts to do that. So here Rupa Goswami, he is wanting more millions and millions of ears here, so that, and then the holy name can enter through the ears, and it can dance in the courtyard of the heart. Okay, and then it conquers the mind, it conquers the senses. All the senses will become inert, and then we are no more in the material world. So this verse here is sufficient for us to produce the transformation from the material world to the spiritual world. The whole process of Krishna consciousness is all meant for us to make that transformation, where we move from the material world to spiritual world, and that can be done at this second, at this minute. We can move from the material world, and as long as we are not doing that, we are still failing at every test. Every second is a test for us in this material world, and every second we are actually not passing in the test if we are not able to transform from the material world to spiritual world. And here Rupa Goswami is actually giving us a way by which we can transcend from the material world to the spiritual world. And how he's saying that he will do that is by when the just the two syllables Krishna. So we don't need some elaborate shlokas. We don't need some elaborate literature. We don't need anything. That is why he is so. We are. All we need is just the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everything is contained in the Mahamad mantra, because the name Krishna and is non-different from Krishna himself, and it is so nectarian that it enters through the ears, and then it goes to our heart. It conquers all our senses, and then at that stage we will not care for anything that happens to us under the material situation. Material world is always going to be miserable. There is no point trying to get material hope for something. So whether it is family life, whether it is work life, whether it is friends, whomever we meet, they can only produce distress in the material platform, and that is already confirmed the Bhagavad Gita. Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, that this place is the thing is Ashashvatam, the place that is temporary itself tells us that it's not going to give us any happiness, because anything that's temporary, if you're living in a place which is temporary, we're not having any so-called permanence, we're going to be unhappy. So if the whole material world itself is like that, Ashashvatam, so it's going to be temporary, it's not going to give us any happiness, and it is a place of misery. And the reason why it is a place of misery is because that is how it is designed. So it is so wrong, it would be so not wise, I shouldn't say wrong, but so wise it would not be wise to expect something from the material world which it is not capable of producing. So that is like saying something like, let's say that we take eat a spoon of sugar, and then we hope that the sugar tastes salty. It is not going to happen. Sugar by nature is sweet. Salt by nature is salty. The nature of the sugar is to be sweet. The nature of the salt is to be salty. In the same way, the nature of the material world is to produce misery. And therefore, the wise will not pay any attention to these miseries, because they are bound to come incessantly. That is why the Gaudiya, the Vaishnava Acharyas, they don't make all these false promises that you come here and then the material problems are going to go away. But here, even in these kind of verses, so this kind of verse, it only talks, it's entirely in the spiritual platform. Rupa Goswami is only talking about the two syllables here, Krishna. So Krishna, and he says, but even in that verse, he covers so many questions that can be answered from that. And he says that from the holy name enters, okay, through our spiritual ears, the spiritual name of Krishna enters through our spiritual ears, enters our heart, and then all the senses, they become inert. And then at that stage, we are not bothered about anything that happens in the material platform, and all our material hopes, which always ever remain defeated, we don't pay any attention to it, and the material hope transforms and transcends and moves on into a spiritual hope. And then the spiritual hope awakens, and then we start the process of detachment. And then we slowly start the detachment, which is a fundamental building block. Detachment material detachment is a must. As long as we are contained, as long as we are attached to the material things, we will be anchored to the material domain. And therefore, and this verse here about how the holy name enters through the years is quoted in by Rupa Goswami himself in Bidagdha Madhava in chapter 1 verse 15. Okay, so it's like an act. Okay, so but it is in 15th verse there, a 7-act play. So it's a 7-act play. So Rupa Goswami here describes the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. So that is Vidagdama. So, and this verse is um, so, and it is, you will also see that in Padhyavali. So it's, he also composed an anthology of verses, and they're also seen. So why did Rupa Goswami really do this? So the real reason why he split that is because of is to show the conclusive philosophical truth as far as the theology is concerned. Because as I had always said, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have done the most exalted research as far as whether it is the metaphysics is concerned or whether it is the theology is concerned. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they have done some exalted, is the one of the best work that is there that can be given to to make it visible to the eyes of the material world in terms of theology. And Jiva Goswami, through his Shatasandarbha, has done some enormous work with respect to the metaphysical aspects, and where he has seen with respect to the verses in the Vedanta Sutra and the Upanishads, where in all the scriptures how he has unified them by when he has seen, he talks about the verses which talk about the non-dualistic nature, which is Advaita. Okay, so Advaitam, Achyutam, Anantarupam. So Krishna is also Advaita. It's non-dual. That much is clearly there. Padantita, Tatvidam, Tatvam, Yajnanam, Advayam. Okay, that is there. Okay, we have Advaita Acharya. So it is non-dual, but at the same time, there is variety and there are differences. And that is the Bheda. That Bheda will show the differences and how the Jiva souls are in relationship with Krishna. So if we are only seeing the non-dualistic aspects, then we will skip all the Vedas. So all those Veda parts of the verses in the Vedas which are talking about the differences so we will just learn only one part of it and we will never learn the whole picture. So Prabhupada here quotes that those who are just in the Brahman platform, they're seeing only like one part of the truth. And those who are seeing the Paramatma aspect, they're seeing like maybe a little more of it. And those who are seeing all the three, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, then they're able to see all the three, then they are able to see the metaphysical aspects also as it is. So here, Kavi Karnapura, so I told you already that he composed Chaitanya Chandrodaya, where he is given the position of the different associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also composed another book there called Ananda Vrindavana Champu. So in that Ananda Vrindavana Champu, in that book is described again the pastimes of Lord Krishna, all the way from his birth up to the Rasa Leela and the divine couples, the swing pastimes. So up to that he did it, and then he stopped at that stage, and he didn't go any further. Why has he done that? Because that is the central tenet. That is all because Rupa Goswami, as being has already set the example there of the separation here of Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava. He's already made the separation. So it is so hard for the devotees who are already taking part in the pastimes of Krishna in Goloka that he again there did not describe Krishna going to Mathura or Dwaraka, because that separation mood is very difficult for the devotees to tolerate, for the pure devotees who are participating in the pastimes of Krishna in Goloka and who want to be in the pastimes and who are aspiring there. It is very difficult for them to be in that. So Rupa Goswami, so what he did, however he wrote about the moods. One mood here is of meeting, and the other mood is of that of separation. So he wrote that. So because of this, the separation mood is a very deep, transcendental, ecstatic feeling, and that is one of the central aspects of the Gaudiya Vaishnava theology here, because there is one is in terms of meeting and one is in terms of separation. So he himself says that, Rupa Goswami says that in Ujjwala Nilamani. So he's Nardina Vipralamba Sambhoga Pushti Manushte. So Vipralamba is one thing, that other is Sambhoga. So without the mood of separation, the mood of meeting will not be nourished. So that means that anytime when even we can see that all these things in the material world, we can see so many of these things pervertedly reflected in the material world. So sometimes, in material world, you say, okay, unless you are, there is a little separation here, you won't realize what is the love that they have, the so-called material love that people have. But then without the mood of separation, the mood of meeting will not be nourished. So, and then they go into higher and higher stages of relishing the love of Godhead or Krishna Prema. So the pastimes of separation are very important because this pastime of separation is what forms the fundamental building block, and it forms the stepping stone, and it nourishes the bhakti lata beach, the beautiful tree of bhakti. It nourishes, and the sweetness of meeting. Okay, so it is, I'm not talking about this, all this is not more on the Vaidhi Bhakti platform, more on the Raganuga platform. So most of this may not apply to many of us who are still in the regulative principles of devotional service. But it is always very sweet to know where is it that we are headed towards. So why are we doing all these things? So why are we, that is also a good thing, because even though we may not have a great spiritual hope because of going to these platforms, but it also, so we are implicitly following the instructions of the Guru and our mentors. We are following the instructions, and we are doing the different principles of regulative devotional service. But what is the prayojana? There is sambandha, abhideya, prayojana. What is the goal, the prayojana of all these things? And the goal is what is mentioned here by all these, and they have been exemplified. And so one should also make a great effort to understand what is the reason why Rupa Goswami appeared in this world. Okay, so why is he doing all this? So he not only by personal example showed all these things. He wrote so many books to explain the theology here. So the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion, which Prabhupada has written, it is such a transcendental literature. And then there is Ujjwala Nilamani, and then Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava. So he's written some amazing books here. So, and then we have Upadeshamrita. So in this verse, so here again, let me go back to this verse. So what we basically see here is the meaning behind our verse today, which is Antilila 1.73, is that the Rupa Goswami has actually clarified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's inner meaning. So those are the two verses. And what is the inner meaning? That there is so he wants to reveal to the world the importance of what is called as a Parakiya Rasa, that is the mood of the paramount love for Krishna and the Gopi. So you have a kind of a relationship with the Krishna, with the queens, which is in marital relationship. And then you have one which is sort of a paramount between Krishna and the Gopi. So let's just to get a feel, get a little taste of this. So what I will do is I will just give some similarities and differences here based on the invocation and how invocation prayer and how the dramas end both in Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava. So if we take the Lalita Madhava, I'm going to state the starting two verses, and then I will state what are the end verses of Lalita Madhava. In the same way, in Vidagdha Madhava, I will tell you the starting verses and the end verses, and you will see the similarities and the differences between Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava. Of course, the central part, and this is very important because it is always Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha. He says that how important, whenever you see any scripture, you always want to see what is the beginning verse, what is the end verse, and what is said repeatedly. And here, since it's a drama, so I'm not going into what is said in between much here, but I will say the beginning verse and the end verse. So here in Lalita Madhava, so Rupa Goswami starts by saying, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the dark cloud of Lord Krishna, which showers the goddesses of 8 direction. Okay, and what kind of a shower it is? It is a rain of sweetness. So it is not some mundane water rain, but it is a rain of sweetness that this dark complexioned Krishna provides, and which eternally decorates the gopis. So, and the gopis are decorated with this beautiful vine-grown leaves and flowers. Okay, and then this embraces it to its chest, the peerlessly splendid moon of Sri Radha. And then he says that this, and then, so there is always like this, one verse is on Krishna, and then the second invocation prayer is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that moon-like personality of Godhead. the supreme moon-like personality of Godhead, known as the son of Mother Sachi. Okay, so that is Lord Gauranga. He is now himself personally appeared in his original primitive form, and he has appeared here to spread this devotional service of himself. Okay, because it is a service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, because that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is nothing but that primordial personality of Godhead Krishna, and this Lord Gauranga is the emperor. He's the emperor of the Brahmana community. Okay, he's the emperor, and he can drive away all the darkness of ignorance. All the darkness of ignorance. And in fact, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya confirms this by saying, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga hai, Sikshartamika hai, Purusha hai, Purana hai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shriradari, Kripambudin, Taratamaham Prapadye. So he can drive away all the ignorance and control the mind of everyone in the world. May that rising moon bestow upon us all good fortune. Okay, so this is the starting of Lalita Madhava. Now I'm going to tell you the one verse of the starting of Vidagdha Madhava. So you will see again a similarity there, where Rupa Goswami says, and may that Supreme Lord, who's known as the son of Srimati Sachi. So you see the similarity there here between in the Lalita Madhava, he says the same thing, that the moon-like Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's known as who's son of Mother Sachi. And here in Vidagdha Madhava, he says the similar verse. He says, may the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost core of your heart. Okay, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is situated deeply within the heart, and that's all that matters, and then resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, because Mahaprabhu is such a Swarna Varna, so he's so golden in color, and that is being described by so many acharyas. So he's descended in this age of Kali. Okay, by his causeless mercy to bestow what no other incarnation has offered. No other Namo Mahavadanyaya, greatest Krishna. So Namo Mahavadanyaya, no other incarnation has provided this, has ever offered the most elevated mellow of devotional service, and that is the mellow of conjugal love. So nobody is given. So that is the position which Rupa Goswami keeps Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at. So that you can see as, so here I have done a comparative analysis of the beginning invocation prayer of Lalita Madhava and the beginning invocation prayer of Vedagdha Madhava. Now I'm going to say three or four, I think, ending verses of both Lalita Madhava and Vedagdha Madhava. And again, you can see the similarities and differences. And it also tells you how it gives you some understanding of how methodical Rupa Goswami also is, okay? And this is actually confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the same chapter here, because he saw Rupa Goswami's handwriting, and it was so beautiful, like pearls. Whatever you do for Krishna, we do it with all our best effort, and it gets spiritualized in this play. So in Lalita Madhava, Rupa Goswami ends the drama by saying that in this play, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the hero. Okay, and he's more handsome than Madan, okay, the Cupid, and his transcendental pastimes make him so charming and a playful person. So and Lalita Madhava has six. What is it filled with? Rupa Goswami says it is filled with 64 arts. It has puns. It has many literary ornaments, and it has a musical poetry to it. And who will worship the Lalita Madhava? The learned and the intelligent. The learned and the intelligent will worship this. It has all these poetical elements to it too. 64 arts, puns, literary ornaments, musical poetry. And Rupa Goswami ends Lalita Madhava by saying that it was composed in the year 1537 AD. Okay, it was composed in the year 1537 AD. And then in the month of May, June, I think, it's on the 14th, the day of the moon, after offering his respectful obeisance to Krishna, he completed this in the forest of Bhadravana. So the different forests there near Vrindavan, so in the Bhadravana. So standing on that shore in all directions, okay, and Rupa Goswami says that he has freely sprinkled the nectar water of stream coming from transcendental mellows, and then he prays to the exalted devotees to forgive him. So now let's look at the ending of Vidagdha Madhava. So in Vidagdha Madhava, so he again contains the transcendental. So here he says this contains the transcendental pastimes of Srimati Radha, and the 64 transcendental arts is now completed. Now, do you see the difference here between Lalita Madhava and the Vidagdha Madhava? So there also, in Lalita Madhava also he says it's filled with 64 arts, and Vidagdha Madhava also he says it's filled with 64 arts, is now completed. And again he says, who are the two people who would want to study Vidagdha Madhava? The learned and the intelligent. Okay, so somebody who is not just learned but also intelligent. Okay, you have to be intelligent to follow the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he completed this play of Vidagdha Madhava. I don't have the AD calculation here, but it is like, but in the Shaka era, it is 1589. And then he says the peaceful and the saintly devotees of the Lord, okay, they repeatedly they will value this book so much. They will, this book and the dark sky of faults, if at all there is any fault in this book, okay, they will cool and decorate with the twinkling stars of the remembrance of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. So now that completes our first learning objective for this verse of today, which is to understand the context of this verse and what are the two verses which are being referred to in this verse 3, Antya Leela 1.73. So now let's go ahead. What about the second learning objective of today, about the wonderful nature of the dealings between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. So why is there so much, what is it so special? Why is there like, what kind of relationship are the different associates having? But you see, there is so much variegatedness there. Okay, you have so many associates. You have the six Goswamis, Swarupa Damodar, Jayananda Pandit. You're all having, you have Murari Gupta, you have, so all these associates, they're all having different kinds of relationships. So I'm going to cite a little here what Swarupa Damodar has said. So Swarupa Damodar, he told Raghunath Das Goswami that Swarupa Damodar will tell Raghunath Das Goswami that he will reveal the esoteric truth about all these dealings to him in a solitary place. So he says, okay, so this one is cited by, I think in Prema Vivarta, by Jagananda Pandit. So he says, neither Ramananda Rai, nor Gadadhara Pandit, nor even Jagadananda Pandit, or comprehends the spiritual truth which Lord Gauranga himself embodies, but of Lord Gaurachandra, he presides on the tip of Swarupa Damodar's tongue, and he himself reveals the highest transcendental truth about himself and what is about his causeless mercy. And then the Raghunath Das Goswami himself will be convinced that all that was narrated by Swarupa Damodar to him is the actual truth. So Raghunath Das Goswami will experience unmitigated bliss upon hearing this. So these are the kinds, so this is a kind of interaction. So the topics described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his intimate associates are what is the nature of it? So Swarupa Damodar tells that to Raghunath Das Goswami that number one, they are completely devoid of material contamination. Number two, they are transcendental expressions. Okay, and what are they doing? Number three, they foster pure love of Godhead. So any interaction here between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so here, this verse here is an interaction between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associate here, Rupa Goswami, and therefore it is very interesting to see because the Antya Leela is full of these kind of pastimes. So you can see that Madhya Leela has a different kind of a flavor to it, the kind of preaching Mahaprabhu did. In Antya Leela here, you can see there is so many conversations with his intimate devotees. So it is, and what is the central topic here between these intimate, the discussion between Mahaprabhu and his intimate associates? Number one, they're devoid of material contamination. Number two, they're all transcendental expressions. And number three, they foster pure love of Godhead. And this is confirmed by Swarupa Damodar to Raghunath Das Goswami. So, and then Swarupa Damodar, he tells Raghunath Das Goswami that Raghunath Das Goswami should perceive all these messages from Mahaprabhu, that their transcendental significance, because nobody can perceive Krishna in mundane literature. A mundane literature cannot tell us anything about Krishna. So whether a man or a woman, as long as one is attached to the bodily concept of life and interested in enjoying senses, as long as they're interested in senses, they will not be in within the grasp of spiritual truth. The spiritual truth who claims to be, okay, so the spiritual so even a spiritual master, if you have a not if you don't have a bona fide spiritual master, and if he claims himself or herself to be a representative of Krishna, but does not understand the Lord's pure love, pure loving exchanges, they are not fit to be in the position according to Swarupa Damodar. So the spiritual love of Krishna, which is there in these kind of interactions between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, is like an ocean of bliss. Samsara Sindhu Tarani Hridayam Yadishyat Sankirta Namrita Rasi Manas Ramathe Manascheta Premambudho Viharani Yadi Chittavratish. If you want to float in this love, Premambudho Viharani Yadi Chitta, if you want to float in this love of Krishna Prema, one should, all you need to do is just taste one drop of it, of that from that ocean of bliss, and it will inundate the entire universe. And so one feels so wretched that if they're 100% attached to the body, that the original form of pure spirit is never manifest. So every step in our Krishna consciousness practice is to do that transformation, so that we will be able to see the original, even our original form as spirit, and be able to relate with Krishna. So when one is blinded by this material love and rejects the pure love in the platform of spirit, then Krishna will not see, even if we do it, or we pretend to do it. Krishna, as the super soul, always knows, and he will not respond to such deceitful approach, according to Jayananda Pandit. So spiritual love of Krishna is like that, it's so untainted. So Jayananda Pandit, in his Prema Vivarta, he said that it's like the sacred waters of the Ganga, that the love, it's like an unlimited ocean of nectar. And so what everybody would want here, it's a spiritual attachment of such loving relationships, and it's totally devoid of material contamination. So why I'm saying all these things is because the spiritual exchanges and emotions experienced by the associates of Lord Chaitanya and his disciples, or also all his associates, they're all transcendental. Okay, so all of the symptoms of transcendental mellows you can find in that person. So and these symptoms, predominantly they're the ones that I exhibit here with his associates, of conjugal mellow or of super mundane nature, and they have experienced purely on the spiritual platforms. Who is the one who experiences this? It is between Krishna and the pure spiritual beings. So one side is the energetic Krishna, and the other side is the pure spiritual beings. Okay, and in this mood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has exhibited some enormous symptoms. Yevam Vratas Vapriya Namakirtya Jatanurago Dridchatta Uchehi Hasatyato Roditi Rauti Gayati Unmadavan Ratyati Lokabhaya. So in this way, but we also need to make a caution here that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has warned us that in this regard, there are also ungodly sahajiyas who imitate the pastimes of the Lord Chaitanya in an unauthorized way and neglecting the standard injunctions of the Vedic scriptures. So today, anywhere in India, if there is any kind of Nama Sankirtan, anything, it is somewhere or the other, it started with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whether they understand, understand the lineage or not, somewhere or the other, they're all offshoots from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga. He's the one who has come here to start the dharma for the year. So it's very important, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so inspiring, and we need to be always careful of the sahajiyas, and so in not to imitate anything in an unauthorized way, neglecting the standard injunctions of the Vedic scriptures. And this will be like foolishly trying to take the position of Krishna as Purushottama, and this making a very, very cheap act of such exalted pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya. And therefore, these kind of super ecstatic symptoms, anything you see, we just said that, whether it's crying, shivering, these kind of pastimes that we described, and they shouldn't be confused with the advanced features of the devotional service, which even Sridhara Swami has also, who has written commentaries on the Bhagavatam, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has cited. Even he says that Samprapta Prema Lakshana Bhakti Yoga. So these pastimes are not something that can be imitated, but they are such amazing pastimes. Mahaprabhu is showing us that it is not just some kind of a thing that you just see in the textbooks. Like the Bhagavatam says all these things, but then it can be practically seen. And Mahaprabhu here is showing that. And I'm going to end this by discussion on this one verse, Antilila 1.73 of Chaitanya Charitamrta, by just having having a prayer on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his amazing pastimes. And this prayer appears in the Chaitanya Chandramrita. And Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hemavadivya Chavisundarhaya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Ananda Leela, full of blissful pastimes. Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya, if you make all the blissful pastimes, if you put that into a form, and that is Lord Chaitanya. Hema is gold, and Hemavadivya, his transcendental gold. Sundaraya, so beautiful. Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya. So he's freely distributing this amazing Krishna Prema. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Unto that moonlike Lord Chaitanya, I offer my humble obeisances. So I offer my humble obeisance to all the Vaishnavas here for Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasantubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And please forgive me for any offenses, any mistakes that I have done today. And if I have said something incorrect when I've been speaking today, I would really appreciate if you can forgive me and correct my mistake during this discussion. Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. I will unmute and open this Zoom call for discussion. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the very elaborate discussion, and it was very, very nice to hear both about Srila Rupa Goswami's specific poetry that he had kept hidden, and also about the differences as you were reading between Lalita Madhava and Vidakta Madhava, the introductory and the conclusive verses. So Prabhu, can you once again just tell the specific difference between the two in terms of the mood, or especially the verses that you read? I saw that there was one place that said he's more intelligent and the learned, right? So the more intelligent meaning the more intelligent will be able to appreciate Vidakta Madhava, the Lalita Madhava. Is that how we understand? I didn't get that part.
No, Mataji. It's for both the scriptures. He has said the same thing, that the learned and the wise will appreciate. It's the same similar kind of a sentiment that comes in at the ending of both Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, that the learned and the wise. And I wouldn't read like too much into all those things, because it's a common tenet that the wise will follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is already there in the Bhagavatam. By when we say Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parasadam Yagner Sankirtanam Yajanti Sumedashaha, that the wise will follow in this Kali Yuga, wise will follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's already there. Because if somebody is not wise, they are not going to follow follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're going to go for something more mundane. They're going to go for achieving different material things, whether it is material benefits or even knowledge, whether it is just plain knowledge, jnana. But they're not going to take all these efforts to want to be able to get a glimpse of the activities of Krishna, which is not, because it is super mundane and it is not in the material platform. And those people are considered wise, because of Krishna, who is not bothered about his material comforts, what he gets from the material thing, they are considered wise. So that's all this means. And as far as the just the mood is concerned, so one is of the mood of meeting, and the one is of the mood of separation. So that's basically what is in Lalita Madhavan. With both are involving the Radharani and the Gopis. So one is that they have expanded themselves as the queens of Dwaraka, So For example, in the Vidagdha Madhava is the pastimes, is Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And then Lalita Madhava, he goes to Dwaraka, and the gopis of the Vrindavan, they are reunited with him in the form of the queens of Dwaraka. So that means that all it is telling is it is setting the stage for for us the beauty of what happens when somebody meets after a prolonged absence. Okay, prolonged how. So one is we are always in touch with them, and then you miss them, and then you join with them again. So it is in that context. But there is both are wonderful scriptures. There is nothing like there is no they both are absolute, and there is like no difference between Lalita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava. They carry some similarities, and there are differences as well.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So, but when after Satyabhama said that, why? So but still Lalita Madhava was decided to be retained, or?
What is that, Mataji? After Satyabhama said that, then what is Lalita Madhava? What is that, Mataji? Can you please repeat that again?
So he still decided to retain Lalita Madhava.
The original book I think was called as Lalita Madhava, but then he split that into and he wrote new invocation prayers now for Vidagdha Madhava. And then he separated that because they both carry two different sentiments, and it is that feeling there that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, and that is and to capture that it was done. So I think it is it is just split into two. He wrote some new invocation prayers, and then he satisfied Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and in the process. So
okay, yes, Prabhu. Thank you very, very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else has any questions or?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the beautiful class. Thank you, Prabhuji, for coming on the call. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for the opportunity. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hi Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Ankuleshwar Shiva Prabhupada. Wonderful explanations, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, when you said that the Lord never leaves Vrindavan, that means the other leelas which we see, that how Akrura is taking by Krishna. So it is just the leelas which are happening, right? But the main mood is that Krishna is always over there in Vrindavan. Am I understanding it right, Prabhu?
So, Mataji, it's the kind of mellows that are being experienced by the denizens. So we can do it in so many different platforms, Mataji. So I'll give you one example. It might be a little crude example, and but I think for the sake of understanding, I think it will be okay. So if you have, let's say, a verse which has in the first line, let's say there are 4 lines in that verse. I'm just saying this only for the sake of understanding. The first line of the verse describes Vishnu, who lies in the milk ocean. And the second line of the verse describes, let's say, Krishna, who's there in Mathura. The third verse describes Krishna, his pastimes when he was with Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. And the fourth line of that verse describes, let's say, the appearance of Krishna as Vamana, Lord Vamana, and then and touching the 3 and with his 3 footsteps spanning the sky as Trivikrama Swami. So this is the difference between the Gaudiya Vaishnavas and the other Vaishnava Sampradayas, because for other Vaishnava Sampradayas, there may not be any difference for them if they have this kind of a verse where you have one line for different aspects. But for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it makes a lot of difference, because the theology here is so much built that it is so it is meant for the people so that they can participate in the activities of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. Or if somebody is wanting to participate in the activities of Krishna in Dwaraka, then the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature gives the wonderful explanations of how the spiritual world, how it is organized, because it is all coming, it's not imaginary, because it comes from Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita says how it is in the form of a lotus flower, how there are petals, and how it is, everything is coming from Brahma. The Brahma Samhita says what is the central part of it and everything. So in this way, the metaphysics and the theology is so nicely intertwined by these Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas, and then there is so much care has been taken in terms of not I would say create semblance of different kinds of mellows, even though everything is same in the absolute platform. So the Krishna, who is in Vrindavan, that Krishna is always there in Vrindavan because this is something, I think, who says this? Which acharya I'm just trying to say, I'm just trying to think, because why would even the gopis want to separate from Krishna? Because nobody would want to do that, right? I mean, like, but that is the mood, that is the highest, it is the exalted mood in which they satisfy. So the answer to that, Mataji, is multiple ways. Number one, to do with the mellows, and number two, it is that is the nature of the variegatedness we see in the spiritual world. So to an extent, I've tried to answer, Mataji, but if somebody else wants to add to what I've said, I think because there are so many exalted people here, they might be able to say more than what I said. I just briefly addressed what you said in the interest of time. So.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Like when you're explaining it, just strike my mind that okay, like that means in Vrindavan, those who are residing over there, they are in so much of a bliss. So just that thought came in my mind that Krishna is always present with them. He's everywhere, but then it says right, like one in Vrindavan, like Krishna is always present there, and just like it just makes a lot of difference with that words itself. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that realization, Mataji. It's very nice to hear that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Nice question, answer, and very nectarian class, Prabhuji. No words to your seva. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Again, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for such kind words. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Is there anyone else? Any other comments or questions? Okay. So then we can end the call. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your valuable time and association and accepting our invitation and coming on the call. We'll end the call here. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai, His Grace Jayananda Gauranga Prabhuji ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.